Welcome to the Ogle's channel. Thanks for watching today. And we're going to do something different on the channel today. We're going to be doing a review. Because, sometimes games get changed. Sometimes they get updated a little bit. And that's exactly the case with a game called Fisti Fluffs. Now, Fisti Fluffs came out, I guess about 6 months ago. And I gave it a pretty negative review because the game was a broken mess. And I felt like it was deceiving people because it was a $20 game, a premium indie game price. Was advertised at the Nintendo Indie World Direct and had a lot of press behind it. And it was a broken, glitchy, laggy, unfun mess. And I gave it a pretty bad review on the channel. However, one of the developers reached out when I put out the review and acknowledged the game had some faults and said that they're going to take some time to fix the game. And I said I would re-review the game when they updated it. Well, he reached back out to me and said the updates are live. The game has been changed, and I said I would do a re-review. And so this is the re-review of Fisti Fluffs. So let's just take a look at it and see, is the game worth your $20 now, or is it still a broken disaster? So you load the game up here, and of course you're going to pick your cat when you go into your game mode. And you can see here that Garfy is still here for better or for worse, but perhaps there are more cat options for him this time around. It's hard to really know because there were so many hats in the original version. But lack of hats was never what was wrong with the game, so we're not going to dive too far into the hat options here. I didn't download Fisti Fluffs for the hat options. Now, I was expecting some new game modes because the developer said that this was, and I quote, much more than a simple update. However, maybe that was just a misunderstanding on my part, and so I can't really fault the update on that. So let's talk about what has changed in the current modes. First off, the physics are slightly better, and you don't go floating quite as crazy as you did in the first version of the game. You have more control over your cat, and the exaggerated jumping comes off a bit more intentional and comedic instead of just purely broken like it did in the original version. In addition to some small tweaks on physics, a new move was added in, the ground slam or the ground pound, which is easily the most powerful move in the game, and it's actually so powerful that when playing with a friend, it became the only move that we would utilize after a bit because it was just so overpowered and you'd win the match by doing the one move. Perhaps they should have toned down the new move just a little bit, but maybe they were so excited about the new move that they just went all in on it. In addition to this new move, there are also some more animated battle markers or impact signs when a hit takes place between you and your opponents, and this makes the game more cartoonish, and I think it fits well with what the original tone of the game was aiming for, and that was missing from the first version. So while the new move that they included, the slightly better physics, the more cartoonish tone, are all nice changes in the game is still very, very, very broken. And you can't talk about this update and not refer back to some of the broken flaws that the game has. First off, the frame dropping is atrocious in this game. It quickly turned into a laggy, broken mess with just 2 players, and while I didn't have the opportunity to have 4 human players playing all at once, I can only imagine it would get worse with the more players that are added. If you were to bust this out at a party, and let's be honest, if you love cats enough to buy this game in the first place, you are also the type of person to suggest playing this cat game at a party, but people will shut the game off almost as quickly as you load it up because the lagging is just unbearable. In single player mode, the lagging was better, but who plays this game alone? This is clearly marketed as a multiplayer game, and it turns into a laggy mess very fast in multiplayer mode. There are also still glitches in the game that become very evident pretty quickly, like in the capture the flag type game where you're trying to maintain control of the crowd. You can actually get stuck in your bubble while wearing the crown, which makes you invisible as your crown time just stacks up. The bubble is only supposed to be there when you're not wearing the crown. Or you get shot across the screen. In some instances it's somewhat random because the physics don't make perfect sense still. Yeah, they are better, but they still don't make perfect sense in some circumstances. Or at one point, the second player cat was just unable to move in the co-op mode where we're trying to defend against the mice going to the little bowls. Fine mode, but once again, it's broken. The glitches are 100% still part of this game. I wish they had fixed them, but they certainly did not. In another game mode where your goal is to cause as much damage as possible, one of the original complaints was the values of the items were off, and in this new version, the values of the items are still way, way off. Like, how is the snowman worth more money than some of the items on the screen? Or how is the snowman worth any money at all, let alone over $2 when you hit it, and that's not even the first time you hit it. I think this is probably the best mode in the game overall, but still, the logic just doesn't make any sense, so trying to formulate a strategy for the game mode would be very, very difficult. And I know you might be thinking, like, well, he's diving too far into the logic and the mechanics of this game. But it's a $20 game, and when you pay $20 for a game, you're expecting a little bit more of an in-depth strategy or more polish when it comes to how to play the game. But all of these issues, whether it was the glitches or the lagging or it just doesn't make any sense, they were all present in the original game, and they still haven't fixed it despite it being patched. Yes, I know that it is an indie game, I mean, it has a clear indie budget, but like I said, it's a $20 indie game, and they had a great deal of press given to it, and one of the developers reached out to me to say that the game was fixed, and it clearly wasn't. The developers are deceiving people into thinking this game is a much more premium product, when in all reality, it is probably one of those discounted $1 games on the Switch. For $1, a lot of these details will be completely overlooked, but for $20, the problems that plague a simple game like this should be absent from the finished product. I'm glad it took the time to update the game, I really am, but it's not worth downloading. Save the money, or better yet, donate it to your local cat charity to save some local cats. Or you can click on the link down in the description here for a well-established cat charity if you want to help cats out in that way as well. But regardless, thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, go out there, find a great game to play, and just simply have a great rest of the day.